Hello there, and welcome to Healing the World Together. Today, I have got a very special guest. Hello, Leah.
Hello, Victoria. It's
How are
such an
you?
honour to be invited. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Listen, the honor is all mine. Now, I'm just going to introduce you because um, I've been following you for a while and I just love what you've achieved. So, if you haven't met Leah before, Leah Turner, actually, so she rose on LinkedIn in 2019, growing her LinkedIn audience, get this, to 175,000. Some people are struggling to get to 5,000. So this I find fascinating. She's her brand, oh my God, she's funny as heck. I've been following her on TikTok. She's just started TikTok, by the way, and we're going to put the link here so you can go and see how genius content is created. Um, she's also the founder of the Holt community, and it has over 580 entrepreneurs in there. But most importantly, she prides herself at being a solo mum. And I just love that. I love what you talk about and how you bring your son into this. But before we start talking about business and everything else, for the people that are going to meet you today, Leah, um, they're going to have an idea about the whole LinkedIn stuff. But who were you before all this?
Oh my gosh, that's a big question. Nobody really. I'm an introvert and I'm neurodivergent. I've got autism and ADHD, and I was a solo mum running a tiny little transcription business from home around looking after my son alone.
Yeah.
Um, Not really making enough money to make ends meet. Uh, Finding very clever ways to make money stretch so I could take him traveling because traveling's something that's incredibly important to me to teach him about like the variety of cultures and people and places in the world. That's something that really is close to my heart,
Mm,
as well as creating amazing memories together. And and that was it really. I didn't really have any clue about business. I'd just been running my transcription business for 8 years by word of mouth referrals and a bit of luck,
yeah.
and keeping my head down and spending a lot of time alone at home with my little boy. Um, Prior to having my little boy, I lived in Brighton and travelled a lot and was a bit of a wild party girl. And then my son came along and my life completely changed and I completely changed. And yeah, so I wasn't somebody that you would ever expect for something like this to happen to, um, or to be comfortable with something like this happening to. So yeah, it's been a lot of big changes over the last 7 years.
Yeah. I remember meeting you for the first time, probably about 2 years ago. And we'd been invited to a dinner. And I remember coming up to you and going, "Oh, hi, I'm Victoria." And you were so shy and so quiet. And then I was like, who's that girl? Who is she? And stuff. And when people were sort of like listing your achievements, I was like, you'd never know. You just sort of like just quietly sat by the bar and stuff, just sort of like sipping your little drink and stuff like, and it, and when you say you're shy, I think I can really testify to that, that you're just so humble. And from watching you over the last couple of years and watching your genius unfold, I'm huge on people, finding their purpose and living their purpose. And when you see someone living it, it's always fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, so when you started creating humorous and relatable content on LinkedIn, did you know that you were building a community?
No, not at all. There was no, so I didn't even really know what marketing was before I started using LinkedIn. I just like, if someone said what's marketing, I would have been like adverts you see on TV, posters that you see when you're out. Like
Yeah.
I never really gave it any thought.
Mm,
Um, I accidentally posted a meme on LinkedIn instead of Facebook, and that was like right at the beginning when I first started using LinkedIn, and it suddenly took off and loads of people started following me and commenting on it, and it got loads of reach, and I was like, oh right, so humor's actually okay here, because it all seemed so stuffy and serious, and suddenly I realized that actually the humor was working. And so I decided I was going to do more of it. But also because I'm neurodivergent, if I find something boring, I just won't be consistent with it. Like
Mm.
ask my laundry pile. If it's boring, I don't do it. And so I knew that if I was going to achieve what I wanted to with the transcription business, which was literally, I want to just work the hours. My son's at school and he's starting school next year. So I've got a year to try and sort this out instead of working 60 hours a week and
Mm.
missing his childhood and trying to juggle everything. I want to work less, earn more, and make things balance more. So I went onto LinkedIn with that purpose and that purpose alone. And I had no clue what was waiting for me on there. And if you'd said to me, like, would you choose to be someone with this huge amount of following? If I didn't know what would come with that,
Yeah.
I would have said absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of anything worse. My sister used to want to be a famous singer. And I always said to her, if you ever do, please, I just want to disassociate from you publicly. I don't want you people to know you have a sister because I can't bear the idea of that
Mm.
visibility. Um, so for me, like it wasn't something that was planned, but
Mm.
it was something that I noticed worked and felt good for me because I am I am shy in environments where I'm not comfortable or I don't know people. So the environment that we met, I didn't really know anyone.
I didn't.
And so I was a bit like, oh. And so I went fully introvert.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm like hanging out at events and I'm surrounded by members of my community, people that I know really well, I'm a little bit more sort of extroverted because I'm comfortable there. I wouldn't say extroverted, but sort of like more than I would be when you first met me. Um, I always tell people my son joined a football team. It was 4 months before I had a conversation with any of the other parents there.
Mm.
I just would stand in the corner quietly and watch, and I wouldn't say anything to people. So yeah, humor was just something that made me realize that I could um, be a bit silly and be myself. And actually, it made me stand out a bit, and people like people that are funny.
Mm.
So, and they kind of liked my awkwardness and my goofiness, and it worked. And I started having some great conversations and really enjoying spending time on LinkedIn, which meant that I was there more, which meant that I was getting more clients because I was more visible. So it all sort of fed into that, and I'm not always funny. I'm not always going with humor, but
Yeah.
I do enjoy being able to explore different impacts of the things that I create.
Yeah. Fascinating. So, God, I've got so much to talk to you about. It's like as I'm talking to you, I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing you tomorrow at your event because you've got an event,
Oh,
haven't you?
you coming to speed
And
networking?
yes, I'm coming to
Oh,
that. I'm
amazing.
really looking forward to it. I haven't checked the details yet, but I will be there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But you know, let's look at I read something the other day, and I think it was the owner of LinkedIn who said that we need to stop showing our emotions on LinkedIn, that LinkedIn isn't a place for vulnerability. What are your thoughts around that?
That's a load of bollocks. Like when people share in an emotion, they connect really
Yes.
powerfully. Um, I always use examples like if you go to a wedding,
Mm.
you don't know everybody that's at that wedding, but you're all joyful together to celebrate
Mm.
whoever it is that's getting married. And you end up bonding together. You're dancing on the dance floor, you're sitting around dinner, you're having loads of fun together. You go to a concert, and you might be standing with a glass of wine in your hand, singing along to your favorite song, and you've suddenly got your arms around the women next to you, and you're sharing in those emotions. And I
Mm.
think vulnerability connects us, whether it's vulnerability, any emotion, but when you share something that's real, and people, I think, mistake vulnerability. You don't have to be sharing your deepest, darkest secrets.
That's the point.
But when you talk about things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think of,
Mm.
especially in a professional environment, other people come forward and it's like me too. And then they're connected with you. And when people find things that are in common with you, they remember you better. And
Yes.
I used to talk about it a lot in my when I did LinkedIn training sessions, is personal branding is almost, especially when you're talking about vulnerabilities, you're creating threads with people. So if I sit here and I say, like, I love spicy food, particularly Thai food, I absolutely love to travel, I'm a huge animal lover, I don't eat meat, I love tattoos, and all of these things that you might learn about me from the content that I create. Any of those things where you find that we have that in common, you would create almost like an invisible thread between
Yes.
us. And those invisible threads, the more you have with each individual person, the closer you are to the front of their memory. And so when someone says, "Do you know anyone who does this?" you connect quicker and you go, "That person,"
Mm,
because we know ourselves better than we know anyone else in the world. And
mm,
so if someone has things in common with us,
yeah,
we remember them better. They stick out in our minds. So while vulnerability, I think, I don't necessarily think people abuse it, and you'll have you might have seen the crying CEO a few years back, and he was sobbing his eyes out on LinkedIn about how he'd had to sack all these people and how awful it was for him. I think weaponized vulnerability, when people are being vulnerable for the sake of it,
that
is like, I don't like that at all. But I think I recently shared about the fact that I need to have a total hysterectomy, and the amount of women um, and people with wombs that came forward to me and said, "I've had to have one too. Here's some advice. I'm
mm,
sorry that you're going through that. My cousin, my sister, my daughter went through it." And there was so much like stuff that came forward, but I also knew that by talking about it, it helped other people.
100%.
And I think when we keep, it's not for everybody, but I think for the people that are comfortable doing that, I don't feel like that's something that's super private, because like, so what? It's just a medical thing. I'm not embarrassed about it, and I'm not certainly not ashamed of it. But if I talk about it and it helps somebody else to feel less alone in what they're going through, then it's had a really good impact, which
100%.
makes it more manageable for me. And I don't feel so sad about it if it's had a good impact. So I think anybody who thinks vulnerability does not have a place on social media, LinkedIn, wherever, they're just people that don't really understand how empathy and shared emotion can really connect us. I think they lack self-awareness and emotional intelligence.
100%. And also, you know what? I think that's where LinkedIn probably goes wrong. When I say LinkedIn, not as maybe not as an organization, but the perception of LinkedIn, where people are almost like robots, it's like they believe that they
A
have
lot of them are these days because they're all just posting with
right,
AI.
right. Being robots and not sort of like re leaning in. And I'm a huge believer that we're humans first.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
why try and be something that you're not? Now, I want to talk to you about community and loneliness.
Mm.
Um, you, a few months ago, is it 2 months ago now, you spoke in front of, is it 2,500 people, and you shared something that had, I mean, I was choking up and stuff, and and I know a lot of people around me were in tears, um, because you shared something really vulnerable that people don't normally talk about, and also it had a huge influence on what you've created to date.
Yeah.
Do you want to just give us a snippet of what that was? Because I don't believe everybody that's going to be watching this probably was at the big festoon.
Mm.
And I believe that more people should hear that story.
When I was working with Danny on what I was going to do for my talk at the Big Festoon,
Mm,
we cycled through a few different topics, and I really struggled to settle on something that felt really true.
mm,
And I find that a lot of these events, and I'm not in any way taking anything away from them, but the point of getting up on stage is to sell something,
yeah.
whether it's got a program or a product or a book that you're promoting. And I didn't want to do that, because actually the thing that I'm promoting is togetherness,
Mm,
because my community is all about people supporting each other and connecting and working as a team to raise everyone up.
mm,
And so I felt like if I just spoke truly from the heart about the real root of why I wanted to build the Holt, and that was, there was lots of different things that I spotted as needs that the Holt would fulfill, but the bit for me that I really needed fulfilling was the fact that I was lonely, because I was a solo mum. I was living alone, far away from any of my family. So I had no local support when I was raising my son. I was not what people would assume would be naturally maternal. As it turned out, I was, but in the lead up to it,
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't sure. Um, and I was trying to juggle everything. And then when I joined LinkedIn, although I had this big audience of people and I was developing a community, I lacked the space to ask the questions. And I remembered being at the very beginning when I didn't have the money to get the support from the people that I needed to learn from,
Yeah.
because like there's so many different skills that you need to learn.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to feel lonely
Mm.
in business or in life. But the reason so many of us feel lonely is because we've just forgotten how to build community and how to lean on community. And I'm really guilty of that. I've been going to all these hospital appointments recently and going on my own, even though I've got people offering. I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm just going for a blood test. I'm just going for a
Yeah.
CT scan. It's like I don't need someone with me. And they're trying to, and I'm terrible at receiving like community support. And so many of my members have said, don't worry, we've got this. We'll look after the community while you're away. I'm
Mm.
like, this is amazing to have people, clients technically, that are doing that. And so the talk for me, I wanted people to go away and think about how much they're looking down at their phones and looking at screens and forgetting to look into people's eyes. And I say that as an autistic person that is not necessarily comfortable with eye contact too
Yeah.
often. Um, but we're not looking up at the world around us and realizing how much kindness and connection is there,
Mm.
but we're not taking advantage of it. We're not asking for it. We're not offering it. And we see from the big Festoon community that Danny's built, with the Atomicon community around them, with the community that I've built inside the Holt, that people working together with a shared vision, even though we've all got our own individual visions, we've got these shared values and shared visions of the lives we want to create. And we are so much better
Mm.
at creating and achieving
Mm.
when we are supported and when we
Yeah.
are supporting others. So the talk just revolved around that. But I think when I just sort of said, I'm fucking lonely, people, and I got choked up in that moment, and my dog was on the
Yeah.
sofa with me,
Yeah.
gazing lovingly at me, which was absolutely not staged whatsoever. I wish he was that well trained. That's just how adorable he is. But I think it just hit a chord in so many hearts because we do so much on our own these days. Even when we feel like we have a load of friends, it's still very easy to feel lonely in our lives, in our relationships, in our struggles. So yeah, it was a touching moment.
It was beautiful. It's, I mean, I don't normally feel lonely, but it made me almost revisit, because I'm single, I live on my own. I could be in my home for like 7 days and not go out. Like, I'm easily that kind of person. I just love, I love what I do that much that I could just be doing, and then go, oh my God, I've not spoken to somebody face to face for 7 days. You need to get out and meet people.
That's why I've got a dog.
Yeah. But it really made me realize that it was something that I needed to acknowledge, and also manage as well. It's like, how do you move away from that loneliness, if there is a loneliness, and and make sure that it doesn't turn into sadness, for me anyway. And stuff, it was like, you could be on your own and just enjoy your own company, but also remember that nobody's an island, um and accepting help.
Yeah.
I had to learn the whole act of receiving a long time ago. I actually did uh, uh, Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny, and I think it's day 3 or 4. You get you get to do different themes each day, and this one was around feminine and masculine energy, and it was all about receiving. Sort of like being in your feminine energy and just receiving. And I really struggled with it. So I
Yeah,
completely can resonate. I mean, I'm a lot better now, but I still, my default is to go, you're all right, you're
me
okay.
too. Yeah. I was always raised like so I lost my dad when I was very young. My mum had to work to support me and my sisters. So
Hmm.
I'm not saying like anything negative about my mum. She did what she had to do, but there was very much there was no money in my family at all. And so I've always just had to kind of rely on myself.
Yeah.
and I've not had a safety net. There's not like, oh, if my business fails, I can go and live with my mum. Like, there's no space. It's not, if I get myself into debt, someone's going to bail me out. There is no one to bail me out. That
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I haven't had money from my mum since I was about 14.
Yeah.
So like, it's one of those things that I have developed hyper independence, been in bad relationships, people I haven't been able to rely on. I've been let down and betrayed by people that I've trusted over the years. And so although I'm much better at building relationships with people and trusting the right people now because my dickhead radar is on point, um, I always just sort of go, well, I'll just do it. Like, I can do it on my own. I don't need help. I can manage. And actually, yeah, I can manage. No one's questioning that I can manage, but there are people around me that love me that don't want me to have to manage. They want to help. And that is something that I've really only had the last few years. And
Mm.
then there's been people that want to help because they think that they can get something in
Yeah,
return that they want from
100%.
me,
Yes.
which, that transactional thing. And so it's been a bit like, do you want to help me because you genuinely like me, or do you want to like
Mm.
help me because you want me to post on social media about it and help boost your business?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't blame people for being like trying to leverage like that. It's if it's that's the kind of people that they are and that's what they want to do, but that's not the kind of person I am, so it doesn't feel good to me
No.
when I feel like I'm being sort of used, or help is conditional. So yeah, it's I keep a very small and close circle now, but I know those people will do everything. And then you've got, the 500 plus people in the community
Mm.
who, there's a real core group of them that they've become really close friends of mine as well, and they do genuinely care about me. And
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable for me to accept and receive
Yeah.
that kind of love and support, but
Yeah.
I am learning, especially as needs for the help come up. I
Yeah.
am learning to accept it better.
Yes. See,
Taken me 40 years.
yeah, I mean, I'm very much in that space of, um, I've protected myself from so much hurt and what have you, again, because people want to come to you and help you, but a lot of it can be transactional. But I've come to learn that, and this too shall pass. So
Mm.
nothing is permanent, and also I'm very resilient. So whilst I don't invite people to use me, which they don't, to be fair, because like I am very no nonsense when it comes to it. But if they try, it doesn't define me or even define the experience. I'm over that now. I'm like,
Yeah.
do you know what? If you need to come in and take advantage or come in and misbehave, my one prayer every morning, and I say this a lot, is I pray to God and I say, take away what's not mine and bring in what is. And it is amazing how powerful that prayer is, because you either find people just dropping by the wayside and you're going, oh, so that person isn't in my life anymore. I wonder why. Well, that's your prayer and stuff. And then you bring in great people and you go, oh, that's amazing. It's amazing how we're connecting. It's like, well, that's your prayer. And you just bring it in. And the experience doesn't define me anymore. I refuse.
No, I'm the same. Like, these days, I trust my gut, like,
Yes.
implicitly.
Yeah.
There have been numerous occasions since sort of growing within the business space where I've not trusted my gut, and I've said in my head, don't be so judgmental. Like, you're being judgmental,
Yeah.
don't be judgmental.
Yes.
And I've actually gone, like, now I go, okay, if I'm not a judgmental person 99% of the time, but if I meet someone and I have a physical reaction, and this has happened a few times recently, I've met someone in person and I've had like a visceral reaction to them. And
Mm,
I've been perfectly polite, you would never know,
mm,
but there's something inside of me that's taken a step right back and gone, I don't like you. And
mm,
it's so rare. Like, I get along with everybody,
mm,
but the minute that happens in me, and it's not anything to do with how they look, the business they run, like, nothing. It's just
mm.
their presence
Yeah.
does something. And now I just trust it. And sometimes it can be as simple as a first message that they send me, and I go, ugh, and I just know, and I just know straight away. And now I just trust it, because every single time I ignored that reaction,
Mm,
it's been proved correct, and I
yeah.
shouldn't have pursued
Yeah.
anything. with them. So now I just trust it and I don't question why I'm having it. I just say, no, the fact that I had it is enough.
Yeah.
Don't get closer to that person.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that because you talk about gut feeling, I talk about intuition, same thing. Um,
Yeah.
funnily enough, there's somebody in our world who um every time I've seen them, I've watched them, I've seen them live, there's just something that doesn't align with me. And can I just say this as well? I also say to other people that if you ever feel that in me, it's okay to walk away because it's not personal. It's just my vibration might not just match yours, and
Yeah.
that's okay. But this person, literally, like, there's just something. Anyway, they were recently hosting an event, and I, being the logical space, went, it doesn't matter. This person is teaching something. Why don't you just check it out? Maybe you're overreacting, being judgmental. Attend this event. So I reached out and I registered my interest. And one of the team members rang me. No, they left me a message. And I said, oh, I've just realized that this event isn't in person. It's actually, sorry, it's in person. It's not remote. I wanted it to be remote. And the response they gave me was the same energy that this person provides. And I
Oh,
just blocked them. I was like, whoa.
yeah, you got to trust that instinct.
I was like, okay. So that itself is another warning. So if you decide to go ahead with this, Victoria, you're responsible. That's like I've been given enough warnings everywhere else.
We get to a certain age and we just start trusting those red
Yeah.
flags, don't we? Like first sign of a red flag, nope.
No.
But especially when you are somebody who is so happy in yourself,
Yeah.
because I am happy single, which baffles people. And they're like, one day this might, I'm like, I am so happy.
Mm.
My life is so calm
Yes.
and so peaceful. Just me and my son. We have the closest bond. Like there is no conflict in our household. My
Mm.
son has never witnessed two adults fighting ever
Yeah.
in nearly 11 years. I don't fight with him.
No.
We chat about stuff. And I think like people don't really accept or they don't understand how someone can be so comfortable in themselves that they can just say no, whether that's to clients offering me thousands of pounds to do a job I don't want to do, which I recognize my privilege in being able to do that, but I can now. I've built the reputation where
Yeah.
I can just go, I've got enough money in the bank that I don't have to do things that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And the same goes with dating, with events that I don't want to go to and podcasts that I don't want to do. And I just say, actually, that one's not for me.
Mm.
Thank you so much for the invite, but that one's not for me.
Mm.
And a lot of people are just like, huh? How do you, how do you just turn down a 5 grand payday because you don't want to do it? I'm like, because it will cost me so much in energy and I won't feel good about being there and I won't enjoy being there and I won't want to talk about having gone there, which they're going to expect me to do because it doesn't gel with me. It doesn't align with what I'm about anymore. And that's constantly evolving. Like who I am is going to constantly evolve. But I'm so set on my values and my integrity now that I question everything. And
Mm.
in terms of the brand,
Mm.
like who am I aligned with? Is this if this person says, "Oh, I'm involved with the whole," will I be glad about that, or
Yeah.
is that reflecting back? And I just say, "Sorry, you're not a fit for the community," you
Yeah.
know. It's taken me a long time to get there. That's not something that you just wake up with one day. It's been loads of little tiny incremental steps towards that confidence and strong boundaries.
Yeah. See, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you have to go through the space of trying to be polite and not say no because you do though, don't you? It's part of growth,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's like you think, oh God, I don't want to say anything, and then it comes to a point where you go, say no. And can I just say I love this stage of my life. Now, people who've known me longer will probably go, you haven't changed, but I just love saying no. Like just saying no, no, it's okay. Like it's all right. No, no. Somebody invited me to something the other day, and I went, no, thank you. And I didn't even think about it. I didn't. Normally, I'd be like, "Oh my God, I said no to them, and I hope they're okay." I was like, "No, thank you."
I think if someone's going to take something personally like that, though, that's kind of a them problem, isn't it? Like I'm
100%.
in some ways I'm lucky because I've got my son as a wonderful excuse. So if they're like, "Do you want to come to this event? It's in London at this time," and I'm like, "No, sorry, I can't do that midweek. I've got a kid." Obviously, if it's something that I really want to do, I will spend the money on childcare and I will take the day out of my business to
Yeah.
go all the way down to London. Um, but it's very good for me to just be able to be like, no, sorry, like and I do all the time now. I say no to way more events than I say yes to.
But it's
It's
better.
difficult to get me out to an event these days. I'm
Oh,
going to Comic-Con next week, and I'm really excited about that because I get to see all my like. I think we've got about 40 members from the Holt that are going to be there. So for me, it's more about supporting my friends and seeing my clients
yeah.
and networking. And Andrew and Pete are wonderful. I know they've got a massive announcement coming up at the end of the event this year. They've got some Richard Moore and Alex Thompson, who are good friends of mine. They're both yeah. I do love the right events, but
Mm,
not all the events. And they're usually ones where I know I'm going to see lots of members. Ideas Fest, I'm really excited for in September.
never been to either.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
Oh,
It's
really?
such a different atmosphere when you're outside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Never been. I've been, and it's not far from me actually. I'm intending to be at Atomicon. I do have a ticket, so I'm intending to be there. I've just not booked a hotel yet, but
Oh, well, I'll get to see you in person then.
yes, 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 yes. I'm looking forward to it. So I've loved this conversation because it's like we've just talked about different things, which I've had questions around them, and we've touched on them anyway. Um, but one thing I wanted to touch about because I know people are watching this, and first and foremost, I know that they're going to resonate on the fact around loneliness as well, and just speaking about the unsaid, sort of like the things that we don't normally talk about, but
Mm.
also the fact that I don't know anyone who wouldn't love to break LinkedIn, including myself. Like, um, I find LinkedIn quite an interesting space, and you've done something that several haven't. I think I know about maybe 10 10 women who I know have really landed LinkedIn personally, if that makes sense. It's the people that I've met or and what have you. What do you think that people aren't doing? And I know you've talked about the humor side and everything else. What do you think that people aren't doing that you're doing and that the whole community are doing that makes them stand out?
Um, well, firstly, a lot of my network grew when it was a lot easier to grow on LinkedIn, like in 2019 and 2020. And then we had COVID lockdown where everybody moved online to network. Like some of it was serendipitous timing. There's no getting around that. I was creating content that was lighthearted and relatable and authentic when people really needed it, and were really lacking connection and missing being out in person. I was also um, on it constantly because I was at home alone with a child in lockdown. So I was on LinkedIn Lives, I was on Clubhouse, I was um, doing webinars and guest presenting with people. And I was teaching LinkedIn on LinkedIn.
Mm,
After the first few months, when I started really figuring out how LinkedIn worked, I was sharing that information to teach other people. And so when you teach about the platform that you're all on,
yes.
people want to follow you, right? So it became easy at that point.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot harder to get large amount of reach to people who don't know you on LinkedIn now. The
Mhm.
algorithm does not push content anywhere near as far. I mean, for context, like I might get 500,000 to 1 million views a month now,
Mm.
where I used to get 4 to 5 million a month.
Wow.
But also I'm not talking about LinkedIn on LinkedIn anymore. I don't really post about LinkedIn because I stopped doing the LinkedIn
Yes.
training.
Yeah.
So that obviously gave me a massive advantage. I also don't look like you expect on LinkedIn. So I'm not saying none of this is down to me. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm
Mm.
a good writer and I have a good sense of humor and I'm very real. So those things definitely contributed to the success that I've had. I'm also kind and I support and promote community. I've got involved in huge charity projects and used my platform for good in multiple different ways and been really conscious to do that.
Mm.
Um, but also when you are head to toe in tattoos with bright blonde hair and massive boobs, and you post selfies on LinkedIn, you're going to get a certain amount of followers because you grab people's attention, right? Like with you, you're an attention grabbing
Oh,
appearance.
yeah.
It's striking, and it makes people stop the scroll and they
Mm,
want to know more. And
mm.
it might that might grab the attention to start with. It's not going to hold the attention
No,
long
it
term.
doesn't
You've got
hold.
to provide something to
Yeah.
back it up. There's
Yes.
only so many times people are going to look at your face and be like, "Oh wow,"
Yeah.
because like they'll get used to you.
Yes. Yes.
And then it's about what you say.
Mm,
So that gave me an advantage because suddenly they were seeing this like bright blonde hair and covered in tattoos going, what's she doing on LinkedIn? She doesn't look like we're used to on LinkedIn.
yeah.
And it got people asking more questions and looking more closely at what I was doing and then going, oh, actually, like this is interesting. She made me laugh. I like her. Or whatever it is that made them hit that follow button. So I think the combination of factors,
Mm,
um, and I think that the people that are being real, but there's a difference between being real and being followable because there's lots of people that will post things that are slightly vulnerable or a bit personal or funny, but what you post has to also be useful to the person that's reading it.
yes.
And so when I share things vulnerably, it's not, oh, poor me. It's
Oh.
here's something I'm going through, so you don't feel alone.
Mhm.
Here's something I've struggled with that's gone wrong, and here's how I fixed it and what I've learned. So it's not like woe is me content. It's not like I'm just doing this for attention. It's I've got something that I'm giving you through something that I've gone through. And that makes, people are self-interested, right? If it's just, oh, get out your little violins and feel sorry for me, ain't no one following because it doesn't
No,
make people feel good. But
no.
if you're showing that you can move past something, you can be resilient, you can handle something with humor, they take something, they take a little bit of strength away from that for themselves.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably where it's where it's worked for me because the stories that I tell, there'll always be people that look at it and go, oh, she's always talking about herself. She's such a narcissist. But if they actually read between the lines, they know that everything that I post has a reason to
Mhm.
help people, to help, to inspire, to motivate, to empower people, to strengthen them, to make them laugh. Like there's always that undertone to it. And that's fully intentional.
I love your content. Like literally, I could watch you all day. It's
Oh,
yeah, I really could, especially like I've mentioned before, your TikTok presence because it was new. I started watching. I knew you before you started TikTok, so I was like, oh, let's see, and I was like, damn, she's good. Like
I'm still building my confidence with TikTok. I
I'm
find
loving
it
it.
really scary, which is why
Oh,
I'm just telling silly stories at the moment.
I love it. I love
But
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
trying
it's
to do
so
the
much.
whole yapping thing that everyone's talking about at the moment. It's like yap on camera. I'm like, well, I can yap.
My niece calls herself on TikTok the yapper and stuff, something like that. Like
Love that.
she's got her name and she goes, something like I'm a daily yapper and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you are, but I love absolutely love your content. So as we come to a close, gradually, I've got a couple of more questions for you. Your I mean, I think you're quite soft anyway. You're quite soft as in I see you as very soft and feminine. Not that I mean, God, I've seen you sort of like write posts that are telling people off. So I'm not saying that you're a walkover, but when you talk about your son, you just melt and you can see the love there for sure. What has been a parent um done to you with how you receive support and and how you navigate the world compared to what you used to be like.
I'm not sure what you mean.
So this softness of because I feel like sometimes the softness of becoming a mother sometimes happens after you become a mother, not before. So I'm just wondering
Yeah.
how you receive help, or how you navigate the world in general. So for example, I know that my sister, she's got four. She used to be a lot less tolerant when she had kids, and now she's so much more.
Um, I would say before I had children, I was somebody who was pretty selfish. I was in my 20s, right? I was living life. living mostly in Brighton, traveling the world,
Mm.
running my business. I didn't have anyone else to really think about. I was not particularly close with my family. Like I'd be there obviously if they needed them, but we're not, especially at that point, we weren't like a close family,
Right.
um, geographically or emotionally.
Yeah.
Um, and I was very much like, I want to live my life to the full. But I was also quite self-destructive. I was a real risk taker. And I'm a risk taker in other ways now, like business, calculated risks, but I'm a risk taker in business, but I'm not a risk taker with my safety and my health
Right.
anymore. It was all sex, drugs, and alcohol and crazy travel stories in my 20s. And now it's like, no, I'm my son's only parent.
Right.
And I'm not leaving him an orphan because I feel like going out for a
Mm.
wild night out. So the sort of wild side of me in terms of behavior changed and I softened, but I actually became less tolerant of crap and people since having him. I put up with a lot more crap in my 20s
Mm.
from men, from friends, from people. Now I'm like, no, I only have a limited amount of energy and that goes on my business, my son, like priority is my son, then it's my business, then it's the people that are close to me, my family, my close friends, and my pets.
Mm.
And anything else, I do not have the time for. I literally don't have the
Right.
spare capacity, the energy for it.
Yes.
Um, and so my priorities, my boundaries are way, way, way better. And I would say my tolerance for idiots and rudeness and people who appear to make the world a less nice place
Yes.
has gone right down. Like it's below zero. I just don't put up with it now. I've definitely toughened
Mm.
in terms of that, but
Mm.
I have softened in terms of how I love and nurture people.
Mm.
And it's not just my son. If you speak to anybody in the Holt community, they'll probably describe me as like a mother hen. I am,
Oh.
I'm a motherer. And that like the whole business is called the House of LT, which is based on um in the 70s, 80s, and 90s in New York, they had the transgender scene where they would host these balls.
Mm.
And so they would have all these sort of people that have been rejected by mainstream society, by their families, by their friends as they come out as trans or gay or all of the other LGBTQIA varieties.
Yeah.
And they would develop these families and be looked after by a house mother. And they would have all these glamorous names and they would put on these amazing outfits expressing who they are and do these dances and compete with one another. There's an amazing TV show about it called Pose on the BBC. They did it and it was just brilliant. And I was like, I want to be a house mother. Like, I want to bring in the people that have never felt like they had space to belong in business, that have never felt a part of something because they feel a little bit weird and they don't feel like they can be themselves. I want to look after them and I want to show them that it's possible if we work together. And that's where it all came from. And a massive nod, obviously, to the trans and LGBTQIA
Mm.
plus community, because I am a huge ally for them, and I think they are one of the most beautiful examples of people that are bravely themselves. And
Mm.
I find that really inspiring. I grew up throughout my 20s in Brighton, surrounded by this. To be me, I've had to be brave.
Right.
And to own who I am and not apologize for it, I've had to be really brave and face pushback and face controversy and worse, face violence and persecution. So I I mm, I look at that community and I just think to be part of it, you have to be bravely authentic, and I love that, and I feel connected more to that than I have any other community. So I wanted to nod to that when I started the whole and that's something that's come up purely from motherhood. I've learned that nurturing and taking care of others is something that runs through me. And I look in almost every situation that I'm in, I look for the opportunity to help somebody else with it, whether it's dropping a name and a recommendation, whether it's, oh, I know a thing that will help you to do that. I've got a resource I can give you. Why don't you just come and try this? Like, I'm always searching for an angle that will help me help others or help others.
I love
And
that answer.
yeah.
I love the answer. And I didn't realize that it was the house of LT, the house
Yeah.
of Leah Turner. I love it. I think I've always wondered where the name came from. So that's a great segue into tell us about the Holt.
Gosh, it's so hard to compress it. So the whole is somewhere that if you are a business owner or a solopreneur, a freelancer that is working on your own. And actually, we have a lot of employees that are like, we have a few employees in there that are like remote workers that are sick and tired of, or they run a business with loads of staff, but they want other business owners to yap to, not necessarily like employees. It's one of those places where you can come in and ask any question and no one is going to judge you. And I really mean that. Like in the 4 years I've been running it, I have never, ever, ever seen anybody be rude or offensive or judgmental to somebody else in there. Um, we protect it fiercely. So if someone does behave badly, they
Mm,
are removed without question. We do not have space for racism, homophobia, um, transphobia. Like we will not. We've got people varying from age 25 to 70. We've got people who've just started their business or are side hustling still to people that have been running them for 20 plus years. It's hugely diverse, but the thing in common is everybody is celebrating the things that we have in common
mm,
and respectfully curious
mm.
about the things that make us different, and we benefit from the things that make us different. Those are selling points.
Yes.
We host masterclasses from incredible experts. We had Chris Doe in for a Q&A yesterday,
He's
which was wild.
amazing.
We've got some really big names coming up as well as Chris. And everything we've ever done is in a recorded library, so you can always watch it back. So it doesn't
Mm,
matter when you join, you
mm.
have 4 years of masterclasses that we've got in there that are doesn't cost any extra. Um, we do speed networking, which I know you're joining
Yes.
us for tomorrow. We do that on a monthly basis. We do community calls every Friday as just an informal way to meet other members and
Mm,
round up your week. We
mm,
have well-being circles every month. We have a book club. We have masterclasses hosted by members, so you can learn from one another.
mm.
And the chat app, unlike a lot of communities, not trying to slate anybody, but I know a common thing that I hear from people that join us from other communities is no one ever chatted. Like it was never busy. Ours is literally so busy that my phone has been buzzing with notifications since we started this podcast. Like I see everything. And also, unlike a lot of communities, this is my only business. For
Mm,
the last year and a half, I have been focused 100% on the community. And so I am the most active person in the community. I'm responding to everything. I'm tagging people for opportunities. I'm dropping people's names. I'm constantly coming up with new ideas to help raise visibility and support members. Um, so it's not, we're really, really focused on a good experience for the people that are there,
mm,
and the amount of genuine friendships that have come off the back of it, even one romantic relationship that's come out of it.
mm.
I know. Uh, like we are a group of people that are the kind of people that everybody needs to cheerlead them.
Yeah.
And we don't charge a lot of money for it because the whole point of it is to have everybody equal. So there's no tiers, there's no or pay extra and you get more access. Everybody's equal. No matter when you join, everybody's equal. Um, and I love that about it. And the business gurus tell me off, like you could have this, you could do one-to-ones and sell those. I'm like, nope. The whole point was me to have more time, not be constantly on calls all the time. I want to be there in the chat. I run the community calls myself. I host a speed networking. I host a question time once a month with me. I am the one in the community all the time, supporting people and watching what's needed and listening to what people are saying and saying, right, how do I find a solution to that?
Right.
I and that's like the thing that I love doing the most. It's not they don't know they need it, but I go, oh, I've had an idea. We can do something that helps fix that. And so my creativity is always entertained. I'm always challenging. They're always challenging me without even realizing that they're doing it.
I love it. Well, we're going to
Mhm.
put all the details at the bottom here because there's different ways on how to find you. We've
Yeah,
got all of that. We're going to put that at the bottom. But from me to you, I know how busy you are. I know, I have an idea, like you've mentioned, about your boundaries. So I just want to say thank you so much for saying yes
my
to
pleasure.
coming on. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Yes. I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.